And now, Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by Gladstone Psychiatry and Wellness. Care that meets you where you are.
Yes, Edirin Uwayzor from Gladstone Psychiatry and Wellness is joining us on this Wellness Wednesday.
And we're talking about helping kids and teens navigate back to school. We've been talking about it all morning and the stress that comes along with it. And first off, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Your focus is mental health. How do we know sometimes whether the stress that parents and kids are dealing with, especially the kids, is normal jitters going back or maybe even a little bit more like depression or anxiety and how to deal with that?
All right, so that's a great question. It's absolutely normal for children, teenagers to be a little bit anxious, worried after a long summer break. And it's normal to have things like jitters, that excitement. However, when things like, if they're persistently feeling sad, often anxious, refuse to go to school, you notice changes in eating patterns, behavioral habits, they're isolating themselves socially. That's when, it's time to reach out to your child's school team, counselors, their teacher, and then consider consulting with a mental health professional as well.
Okay.
And so for maybe the less severe, just sort of those back to school jitters, what are some things that parents can do to ease that for their kids?
Well, easing that, you can, there are a couple of things to do. You can definitely assure them that being anxious is totally normal, that everyone gets a little bit anxious sometimes, but just take some deep breaths and then understanding that they have full charge, just giving them that empowerment.
And just even starting that conversation, because kids tend to be, they'll talk to each other, maybe, but they might not bring that to a parent. How does a parent even just broach that topic? Just get the conversation started.
Okay, well, starting with a very low pressure environment, that's the first step. And consider asking open-ended questions. So for example, rather than asking, how was school today? They'll typically respond, fine.
Fine.
Yes, but if you ask an open-ended question by stating, what are some positive things or what were some good things that happened today? It'll get them to engage.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And like we mentioned, this is it can be a hard time for parents as well. It's a lot to deal with, especially if your kids are going away or starting a new chapter. So how do you recommend they deal with sort of all of that anxiety? All
of the stressors? Well, reestablishing routines kind of helps set the pace, set the tone for the new school year. So setting schedules for bedtime, wake time, and then meal time so that there's consistency and then they adjust.
Okay. And then resources, if parents need some help, if the kids need some help, where do they reach out?
Okay, so the first step would be to reach out to the school's counselors, teachers, and then definitely consider consulting a mental health professional as well. There are resources such as apps, books, peer support groups, and then we also have, therapists as well. And at Gladstone Psychiatry and Wellness, there are, support groups, therapists available, parenting groups, medication management, and then if there are extreme cases, specialized groups such as TMS or DBT.
Well, you're not alone. Not alone. Okay.
Thank you so much, Edirin. We appreciate you joining us on this Wellness Wednesday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wellness Wednesday on WJZ at 9 is brought to you by Gladstone Psychiatry and Wellness. Care that meets you where you are.